Hello everyone. It feels great to get back and resume to what I have been looking forward to. And I'm sure you are equally exhilarated as I am. Yes, here I am, Pallavi Mithari ma'am, to take you through chapter 2 of your English literature, and that is the tsunami. Well, I know you all by and large are aware of what a tsunami is. Alright? Now, here let's have a quick overview of it. What is a tsunami? A tsunami is one of the natural disasters. A tsunami is defined as extremely large sea or ocean waves triggered by underwater earthquakes, volcanic activities, or landslides. The word tsunami was coined by the Japanese, which means harbor waves. Tsunamis are sometimes referred to as tidal waves by the general public, which is incorrect as they are not related to the tides. Now tell me, like cyclones, do tsunamis have names? Not really. They are usually named for the landmass they impact or the city or town they inflict damage upon. This chapter is a factual narrative of a particular tsunami, that is, the tsunami of December 2004, which occurred in the Indian Ocean, in Indonesia, Sri Lanka, and parts of India. Few incidents of the disaster are shared in this chapter. Yes, here you can see the location of the epicenter of the infamous tsunami. It has enveloped places like Indonesia, Thailand, Malaysia, Sri Lanka, Myanmar, and southeast parts of India. Yes, you can observe this map and see all the places the tsunami engulfed. Alright, before we actually commence with the chapter, let us view a few images of the tsunami 2004. Well, as you observe here, the tsunami waves that are gigantic, violent, traveling at high speed and attacking everything and anything in their way. You can see the massive damage, infrastructure, the ruined lives of people, and other habitats that are destroyed. You can see people agonizing to this tragedy. Oh my, such devastating images. Well, let us now understand the effects of this tsunami before we actually begin reading the chapter. Destruction. Tsunami waves destroy ships, boats, buildings, bridges, vehicles, trees, and just about everything in their way. Once the tsunami waves have knocked down infrastructure on the shore, they continue to move several miles inland, causing more destruction. Death. One of the biggest and the worst effects of tsunami is the cost of human life, as escaping a tsunami is impossible. People living in coastal regions, towns, and villages have no time to escape. Environmental impacts. Tsunami not only destroys human life but also ravages trees, animals, insects, bird habitats, and other natural resources. Disease. Flooding and contamination of drinking water can cause diseases to spread in the tsunami affected areas. Economic impact. The total financial cost of the tsunami could be millions or even billions of dollars of damage to coastal structures and habitats. Psychological effects. Victims of tsunami often suffer from psychological problems. People who have lost their families, homes, businesses, and loved ones happen to suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder. In this manner, let us see how the tsunami has affected 18 countries of Southeast Asia to Southern Africa, killing more than 250,000 people in a single day and leaving more than 1 million to be homeless. The economic toll that it caused was several million of dollars of economic loss. I hope you all by now have acknowledged the background of this chapter. So, I now request you to open page 24 of your textbooks. Yes, here you can see the map of the Andaman and the Nicobar Islands. If you look at the map, you can see an archipelago, that is, an extensive group of islands that belong to the Andaman and the Nicobar. This is just a simple map reading activity which I expect you to do it independently as your assignment. Now let's go over to page 25 and begin reading of the chapter. A tsunami is a very large and powerful wave caused by earthquakes under the sea. On 26 December 2004, a tsunami hit Thailand and parts of India, such as the Andaman and the Nicobar Islands and the Tamil Nadu coast. Here are some stories of courage and survival. Did animals sense that a tsunami was coming? Some stories suggest that they did. These stories are all from the Andaman and Nicobar archipelago. Ignatius was the manager of a cooperative society in Kachil. His wife woke him up at 6 a.m. because she felt an earthquake. Ignatius carefully took his television set off its table and put it down on the ground so that it would not fall and break. Then the family rushed out of the house. When the tremors stopped, they saw the sea rising. In the chaos and confusion, two of his children caught hold of the hands of their mother's father and mother's brother and rushed in the opposite direction. He never saw them again. His wife was also swept away. Only the three other children who came with him were saved. Sanjeev was a policeman serving in the Kachil Island of the Nicobar group of islands. He somehow managed to save himself, his wife, and his baby daughter from the waves. But then he heard cries for help from the wife of John, the guest house cook. Sanjeev jumped into the water to rescue her, but they were both swept away. 13-year-old Meghna was swept away along with her parents and 77 other people. She spent 2 days floating in the sea, holding on to a wooden door. 11 times she saw relief helicopters overhead But they did not see her. She was brought to the shore by a wave and was found walking on the seashore in a daze, which means in a state of shock. Almaz Javed was 10 years old. She was a student of Carmel Convent in Port Blair, where her father had a petrol pump. Her mother, Rahila's home was in Nankari Island. The family had gone there to celebrate Christmas. When the tremors came early in the morning, the family was sleeping. Almaz's father saw the sea water recede. He understood that the water would come rushing back with great force. He woke everyone up and tried to rush them to a safer place. As they ran, her grandfather was hit on the head by something and he fell down. Her father rushed to help him. Then came the first giant wave that swept both of them away. Almas's mother and aunt stood clinging to the leaves of a coconut tree, calling out to her. A wave uprooted the tree and they too were washed away. Almas saw a log of wood floating. She climbed onto it. Then she fainted. When she woke up, she was in a hospital in Kumarta. From there, she was brought to Port Blair. The little girl does not want to talk about the incident with anyone. She is still traumatized. Well, these were stories that we read of the Andaman and the Nicobar Islands. Ignatius, who was woken by his wife early morning, lost his wife, children, brother-in-law and father-in-law. He saw them sweep away in front of his own eyes. Sanjeev, the policeman, had just about managed to save himself and his family. He could have ignored the cry of help from John's wife. But the dutiful officer put his life in danger to rescue somebody else's and got swept away with the strong currents of the waves. In this manner, he lost his life in saving others. Students, the story of Meghna, who was just about your age, shows her grit and determination to save her own life. Can you imagine just holding on to a wooden door and floating for 2 days in the saline water? Yet the brave heart did not give up and was finally brought to the shore by a wave. Similarly, Almas's family, little did they know that the Christmas would turn into a disaster. Though Almas's father got a hint of the tsunami hitting them and tried to rescue the family, he failed to do so. It was only Almas who somehow managed to float on a wooden log, was finally brought to a hospital by the rescue team. The survivors like Meghna, Almas and others were completely shaken and traumatized. Can you imagine, in the blink of an eye, you lose everything? I mean absolutely everything, and become a victim to such devastating disaster. But we must definitely look up to the 2 young girls and get inspired by their courage and dauntless struggle to confront such a ruinous calamity. Now let's read further the incident that occurred in Thailand. Tilly Smith, a British schoolgirl, was able to save many lives when the tsunami struck Phuket beach in Thailand. Though she has won a number of awards, her parents have not allowed their daughter to be interviewed on television and made into a heroine. Why do you think they took that decision? Now here is a story from Thailand. The Smith family from southeast England was celebrating Christmas at a beach resort in southern Thailand. Tilly Smith was a 10-year-old schoolgirl. Her sister was 7 years old. Their parents were Penny and Colin Smith. It was 26th December 2004. Deadly tsunami waves were already on their way. They had been triggered by a massive earthquake off northern Sumatra earlier that morning. The water was swelling and kept coming in. Penny Smith remembered. The beach was getting smaller and smaller. I didn't know what was happening. But Tilly Smith sensed that something was wrong. Her mind kept going back to a geography lesson she had taken in England just 2 weeks before she flew out to Thailand with her family. Tilly saw the sea slowly rise and start to foam, bubble, and form whirlpools. She remembered that she had seen this in class in a video of a tsunami that had hit the Hawaiian Islands in 1946. Her geography teacher had shown her class the video and told them that tsunamis can be caused by earthquakes, volcanoes, and landslides. Tilly started to scream at her family to get off the beach. She talked about an earthquake under the sea. She got more and more hysterical, said her mother Penny. I didn't know what a tsunami was, but seeing my daughter so frightened, I thought something serious must be going on. Tilly's parents took her and her sister away from the beach to the swimming pool at the hotel. A number of other tourists also left the beach with them. Then it was as if the entire sea had come out after them. I was screaming, "Run!" The family took refuge in the third floor of the hotel. The building withstood the surge of 3 tsunami waves. If they had stayed on the beach, they would not have been alive. The Smiths later met other tourists who had lost entire families. Thanks to Tilly and her geography lesson, they had been forewarned. Tilly went back to her school in England and told her classmates her terrifying tale. Well, students, what we read now is that the little British girl Tilly, barely 10 years old, younger than you all, saved many lives when the tsunami hit Phuket, which is the well-known tourist place in Thailand. She had seen the sea behaving the similar way that she had seen in the video shown by her geography class teacher in her class. Here, the point to be noted is that only because Tilly was attentive in the class, she could quickly relate her learning to the actual happening she witnessed. Secondly, Tilly was alert, and all credit to her presence of mind to have noticed the changes in the nature of the sea waves. Truly commendable from a little girl at such young age. And truly deserving, she won many awards for her heroic deed. Here we need to acknowledge that classroom lessons are meant to be implemented when necessary. Your learning would be productive only when you use it outside the classroom. Your learning should be applied in your real life And that is when your education and knowledge become meaningful. We need to get inspired by Tilly. Yes, well, with this we come to the end of today's session. Today we studied the exact location of the tsunami of 2004, the effects of the tsunami. We viewed few images of the tsunami, read and understood some remarkable stories taken place in the islands of Andaman and the Nicobar. Also, an incident in the Phuket island of Thailand. We learnt how little girls like Meghna, Almaz and Tilly displayed immense courage and emerged to be brave survivors. Well, that's all for today. We end up today's session. As your home assignment, you need to read the chapter so far, and there is a written assignment uploaded which you need to complete by the next class. Do complete your assignment without fail. So, here we end today's session. Goodbye and have a nice day ahead.